What's up, everybody? Hey, YouTube. It's been a while since I added some content to this page, so I cast the bat signal to the sky, aka I asked my Instagram following to send me some Ask Me Anything questions, and I love answering these. They're always such a grab bag of weird and expected, entirely familiar, sometimes perverted. I love doing this because it gives me a chance to see where your heads are at. So I picked some of my top questions and we're going to answer them today. They're in no particular order. I am not revealing who submitted them. We're just going to dive right in. Name your favorite fans. I like this question because it made me question what it is that places my fans into the highest point of the pyramid, the hierarchy of my fan base. And, when you are a content creator that is putting out new entertaining clips and hosting live streams, it's very easy to say, well, my highest tippers are my favorite fans. But there's a whole other reality check here. And those of you that are content creators, maybe you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The work itself, as fun and independent as it is, there is another angle where it can be quite monotonous and it can be quite repetitive. And so much of the time, it's about providing this familiar fantasy, this dialed in fantasy for the viewership and the subscribers that pay to enjoy, especially your sexy adult content. So, what is the dividing line for me? The dividing line is the fans that take the extra steps in acknowledging, in voicing, and celebrating aspects of the relationship that aren't just about the success of their arousal, not just, oh, Laura gets me off so hard. I think she's the best. It's the fans that go a little bit further and they spotlight something about our correspondence or something about the relationship we have that is fulfilling to them. Maybe they take a moment and acknowledge, like, hey, Laura, you shared something the other day on your social media, and it really got me thinking about how I reflect on the music I listened to growing up. And it turned into a very thought provoking experience for me, and blah, blah, blah. The people that take the time to kind of celebrate my humanity, those are the ones that have made it to the top tier slot. And those of you who have made that effort, you know who you are. That's all I can say, is that we spend time chit chatting about things beyond fantasy, things beyond just sexual stimulation. And so that for me makes my job and the act of me being a content creator so exciting and so relieving in many ways, because it sparks my imagination, it sparks my authenticity. And that's really the goal here, is to continue sharing my authenticity. So those of you that do it and have taken the time to ask me questions that aren't about my boob size or the outfits in my lingerie wardrobe, thank you for doing that. It means a lot to me. So those ones are my favorite fans, and let that encourage all of you to dive a little bit deeper into getting to know me. Next question. What is your all-time best kiss, or describe the perfect kiss? I thought long and hard about this one because I don't have like one kiss that stands apart from every other time my lips touched somebody else's. There isn't one kiss where the camera zoomed in and the strings from the orchestral section just came ringing through. I mean, that has happened many times in my life for me. So I have to kind of break down what I feel makes the perfect kiss. And above anything else, I want the person on the receiving end, or the other person involved in the kiss, to be comfortable enough to offer me their mouth in its entirety. And no, that doesn't mean that I go in there because my tongue wants to do a thorough cleaning. It just means that I want to feel that there isn't a resistance. Of course, the beginnings of especially a first time kiss, there is that working your way into each other's mouths that can be quite beautiful and very exciting. But I want the person I'm kissing to build in that intensity with me and ultimately give me the access to the entirety of their mouth. Now, taking it one step further, I do require to feel the hunger in the other person, the hunger for the kiss itself. And that doesn't necessarily mean a certain tempo. That doesn't mean a hardcore tongue aggression. It's shown in other ways. It's shown in a variety of the kiss style itself. It's not just one dialed in, swooping tongue, sort of, you know, rolling down the hill with mine. It needs to be a kiss that is exploratory. Maybe we stop, and as the mouths pull apart, there's a little biting session on the lips. Maybe there's a hum that comes from the other person that creates a vibration because it's a moan that has to come through while the lips are connected. And I can feel all of that. Maybe it's the parts of our body that are touching that just grip a little bit tighter for a moment, you know, hands on the body, the closeness of the bodies against each other. All of that can convey so much of the hunger that I'm talking about. And so, yeah, I love kissing. I love it. I think it's the most exciting part of intimacy. Truthfully, I think it's the most exciting part. It's the most sensual aspect of being intimate with another person. And so for me, kissing is huge. And I'm patient as a kisser. I don't expect everyone who has the chance to kiss me to be immediately expert at it right at the start, because I'm not immediately expert at it. My confidence level can very often times shift and change depending on the person I'm kissing. Sometimes I'm immensely confident and have taken on more of the dominant persona, but sometimes I'm a little bit shy. Like, that's real, that shit happens. And I need the other person to be a little bit more of the pursuer of the kiss. So, I mean, it really is about being in the moment. That's when you're going to have the best kiss, when you're not relying on the checklist items of, okay, I need 30 seconds of tongue, and then I need 10 seconds of lip biting, and then you can't dial it in like that. You have to really let that animal side of you push up against the person whose mouth you are smushed up against. And that's kind of like the best advice that I have for kissing and the ways to be a best kiss to somebody else. If that suits what you're looking for, feel free to use any of that in your own descriptions. This is a fun and simple one. At least when I first read it, I thought, oh, that's such a simple kind of everyday question. It's almost shop talk. The question is, what is your favorite day of the week? And I mean, we build our schedule in our society to look forward to the weekend so much. I don't love Sundays. I'll tell you that much. There's always a heartache that I feel about Sunday, a heartache that the weekend is over and that, oh gosh, you can almost feel the energetic lull of everyone in the atmosphere saying, oh no, back at it tomorrow. And I'm very affected by that kind of energy. So Sundays are definitely not my favorite day. I start trying to get my head into gear for the week ahead. Um, I would say that Thursdays might be my favorite day of the week. Thursdays have become a very acceptable day for going out, making plans to be social, attending events, shows, parties. But Thursday has this like hero's call to it where you're like, all right, we've got one more day in the work week coming up, and that's going to be Friday, and that's our fucking chance to really put a gold star on this week. So yeah, Thursdays, I feel this electricity, like, okay, what didn't we do this week? Because we're going to gather all of our thoughts together and fucking do it. And also, Thursday means there is only one more day in the work week. And I love that I'm talking like I work in an office or that I clock regular work hours, because I don't. And I do even less of it these days now that I have parted ways with my full-time salaried gig with Naked News. So more than ever, I look at my week differently, but for some reason it's just drilled into me. Maybe it's from the days when we would have to be in school Monday to Friday, middle school, high school. Thursday was always like my chance to psych myself up one more time, make one more ferocious attempt at just fucking getting it done before the weekend, whatever it was. So I think Thursday. I mean, I was born April 6, 1989. I'm pretty sure that was a Thursday. We should look that up. We will. We'll look it up. If you could have anything for breakfast, what would it be? I am such a classic gal. I am your typical diner, eggs, meat, potato, and toast girl because it's satisfying as fuck. Sometimes I'll switch up the egg order a little bit, sometimes I'll go poached, sometimes I'll go poached medium, sometimes I'll go over easy, sometimes I'll just go scrambled. And I like it because you satisfy savory, you satisfy umptiousness, you satisfy that sinful baked good of the toast. I always go for rye. I always go for a huge slather of butter, and I always put a shit ton of jam or jelly. I need that to be the sweet component. But then I go into this flurry of I need it all, and I start building bites that include like some of the egg on the jammed toast, but then I start finding ways that the sausage makes sense. Like I'll somehow find that the jelly brings out one of the spices in the sausage. Like I'll just get really psyched about it. I'm very passionate about breakfast. Um, and I'm not picky about it. I'm very flexible when it comes to my breakfasts, but man, do I love that stuff. I could eat that every goddamn meal of the day. Nice cup of coffee on the side, and I am the happiest person on earth. Okay. You still go to Canada after leaving Naked News? I guess in proper grammar. Will you still go to Canada after leaving Naked News? And what are your plans after leaving? Yes, I'm still going to go to Canada. I am still a Canadian. I still have family in Toronto, a friend group in Toronto, my heart with Toronto. I could never cut off ties with Canada. Are you kidding me? And there's a lot of great and goodness in Canada that I will always return to it to celebrate. So yeah, of course I'll still be visiting Canada. I might still even drop in at the Naked News studios. I didn't end that relationship saying, we're through, don't call me. If anything, I left the door very open, and we have a wonderful friendly possibility of working together in the future. So I'm looking forward to it. But what am I going to do? That is such a pressuring question. How dare you ask me that? I am a woman entering her mid-30s. Am I supposed to know anything I want to do with my life? I think traditionally, yes, I'm supposed to have it all figured out by now, right? The goal was to make more time for my content and to really push myself to be my own brand and to explore the kinds of content, the kinds of conversations, the kinds of adventures that I want to have. Don't get me wrong. I had some unforgettable memories made in my time with Naked News. A grand education, truly a grand education in shoestring budgeting, improvisational art, and improving all around as a presenter. All of that was learned in my 6.5 years with that company. So I am very much indebted to them soulfully and spiritually for really getting me to this place that I am now. But yeah, I'm going to keep making content. I'm going to keep working to uncover the truth behind some of the behaviors and some of the attitudes that we have in life towards arenas like sexuality and sensuality. That to me is such a true passion. So yeah, I'm a free agent though. So if you're watching this from any of those big networks, I am here, I am ready, I'm willing, and I'm very available. This question really rocked me to the core. Would you be friends with yourself? I'd like to think that I'm a really great friend to the small circle of folks that know me really authentically. However, I do know that I have some shortcomings, and they are in a form of ghosting, which isn't, I mean, that word itself just has so much emotion wrapped around it, right? It's such a crime to ghost, but I do vanish for periods of time. Um, Sometimes texting can be just overwhelming, and the amount of like texts and keeping that relationship alive in a text form, it's challenging. Also, if you're an individual with ambition, or perhaps sometimes very out of reach ambitions, you end up isolating yourself and not prioritizing friendships. So, would I be friends with me? Yes, but I would also be frustrated being friends with me. So, to all of my friends, trust me, I'm owning it. And I'm very well aware that it is not cool to vanish the way I do at times. But it does not mean that I think we don't have any grounds or constitution to remain friends. I vow to be outright when I see the end of a friendship coming. So yeah, it would be a challenge, but I also think it's very rewarding to be friends with me. Okay, I can be awfully entertaining, just irresistible, entirely adorable, and I like to take us on wonderful adventures. I like to live my life with adventures, even if it's just roaming around the city, even if it's just hanging out in the apartment. I like to find adventure, especially when there is some accompaniment. Um, is there a time you did something so out of character most people wouldn't believe it? I was like convinced I had an early onset of Alzheimer's when this question came in, because I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even know. Because knowing me, if there was something I did that was so out of character, I would have likely just banished it to the backgrounds and the fog of my mind, the areas that I don't wish to give attention to. I want to know myself. I want to be in control of myself. So the idea that there is something I did out of character, yikes. But then, of course, something came to mind, and it was very recent. I was at the AVN Awards in Las Vegas just this past January, and this year I was not covering the red carpet. So I was there just on my own, working at the Motor Bunny booth, having a great time, but I got a ticket to the awards show, and I even found myself in the lineup for the red carpet. And we were getting closer and closer and closer to the step and repeat photo wall where all of the press lines up, which is where I'm usually doing interviews for, Naked News or Cam 4. And as we're getting closer, I did pose for some photos with some fans in the lineup. And then some of them showed me the photos after, and it was a night that I had done my own makeup. And every single photo I saw of myself, listen, anyone who puts makeup on their face, you know what the fuck, how horrible it is when you see that your face does not match your neck. I was wearing a strapless dress, and I said in that moment, yeah, I don't need to be photographed tonight. So as we're getting closer to that glamorous backdrop lineup where all of the press is ready to take your photo, Getty Images is there, all of the big adult media is there, and obviously there's very splashy coverage of everyone who steps on that specific carpet. Yeah, I turned away from it. And trust me, everyone was like, Laura, what are you talking about? Laura, just get on that carpet, get your photo taken. And I couldn't do it. I started going down the paranoia spiral of how many times that image of me is going to be regurgitated, and it's going to be me and my face and neck not matching. And yeah, I stepped away from it in that moment. And it's very unlike me to step away from the spotlight, to step away from an opportunity as glamorous as the biggest night in the adult industry. But y'all, I had to do what I had to do. Okay, that to me felt like the best possible solution to preserve my sanity, to settle the anxiety brewing in my diaphragm. I needed to do that. Um, do I regret it? I don't know. Some of you have said that the lights would have been so bright on the professional carpet that it wouldn't have mattered. but it's just I wasn't ready to take that gamble. I was in Vegas and I was not ready to take that gamble. I like this one here. This one came in from a music lover, a music obsessor, and someone who I believe gets me because I am such a nerd for music and the way that it makes us feel. So this question was, if David Bowie was still alive, would you marry him? I'm a huge David Bowie fan, huge David Bowie fan. And so much of his work, especially like the deep cut album shit that is not the top 40, pop chart shit, uh, is very intimate and very personal. Station to Station is probably my top Bowie album. Um, Lyrically, it's profound, and you get this glimpse of David Bowie as an extremely vulnerable person. And to me, that's all I could hope for in my perfect match. Would I want to marry him? No, I would want to be loved by him. I would want to be loved by David Bowie. I don't know how I feel about marriage. I mean, Bowie himself as an artist just transcends so much of the trappings that we put upon ourselves as humans looking to make connections in this world. And I don't know if marrying him would be the best way of honoring the love I have for him. And let's be honest, the love that I would hope he has for me. So I don't know. I mean, he certainly was married. And if you've seen the latest Bowie doc, Moonage Daydream, you get a sense of just how important the love in his life and his love life was. So perhaps marriage was for him. I don't know if I would want to necessarily put the fence around him in the form of marriage. And I know that even the definition of marriage today has flexibility within it. In fact, many of you inspire me on the daily as to how you make your marriage work based on redefining what marriage is. In my own reflection of it, I still go, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to marry him, but I would definitely want to be loved by him. I would definitely want to make love to him. I would definitely want to be there for the morning after of it. I would want to be there for all of it. Okay. I have a huge crush on that man, always and forever. Um, so yeah, thank you for that one. You sent me into so many fantasies. And the last one here, thoughts on FinDom, financial domination. Holy shit. I'm so impressed with this experience available and happening in our world. I mean, it's not new. Financial domination is not new, but the psychology of it captivates me. Financial domination is, of course, when a FinDom or a dominatrix, whether they're an online worker, whether they're an in person worker, is making monetary demands of a willing submissive. And sometimes those demands come in very playful ways, like shopping lists or allowances or, spending budgets. Sometimes it can be deliciously vicious, and it's just the demand for more and more and more. Um, and a lot of people I talk to that aren't familiar with financial domination, they always come up with the question, well, how is this ethical? How can the dominatrix, feel that their work is within moral rights when you could be draining an individual dry? And here's the thing that you all of you need to really understand is that this is a consensual practice. This is an incredibly consensual practice. And just as much as there are folks with the desire to take money or just the talent and ability to be good at it, there are folks with the deep rooted desire to have their money spent, to have their money taken, to have their money go someplace that isn't towards them or their life. So it's immensely satisfying for all involved. I am in awe of financial domination. And I think it is such a beautiful example of how individuals are getting what they want in this life, and they're doing it the right way, and they're not They're not being closeted about what they want. They're going to professionals and they are making those professional transactions happen. That shit blows my mind. So, thanks everyone for submitting your questions. I hope you had some fun listening to me answer them. Follow me on Instagram. Laura X Desiree is where to do it. I'll be hosting more of these, but also follow me here on YouTube because I have a lot more content coming out. Like I said, free agent. So hey, let's collab. Until then, mwah, see you all next time.